cancel all your plans because you're about to be obsessed with a bunch of new books. I have a large list of books that I found unputdownable, and I mean large. Look at this. There's a lot of them. I am co-hosting a readathon this year called Escape the Readathon, which happens all month long in May. It is a competitive team-based readathon. This year's theme is that we are on a cruise, and we will not be let off the cruise until we escape all of the games that we have to play. The catch is that only one team will be allowed to escape, so we have to be the first team to do it. It's so unique. I've never seen anything like it on YouTube, and it's created by my friend Books with Lexi. I will leave her page down below. One of the prompts for it is a popcorn read, and so I wanted to bring you my version of a popcorn read. For me, size does not matter, at least in this case. And a popcorn read is something fun. It's something that I can't put down. It's something I want to continue reading. Like, I literally feel like putting it down is the worst decision I've ever made. It's something I want to see the twists, the turns. It's easy to read. I typically read it in 1 or 2 sittings, something like that. And some of these can be chunky. I read across a lot of genres. I read romantasy, I read YA fantasy, I read adult fantasy, and I read horrors and thrillers. And so I have all of those here. I also have one romance as well. It's a big list. I think that this is my favorite type of read. So if you have any recommendations for me, also please feel free to leave them down below. Because my channel is mostly fantasy romance these days, let's start there. I have a few really good recs in my opinion. The first one is going to be Phantasma by Kaylee Smith, also the sequel to this Enchantra I am currently reading, and I also think it fits this perfectly. I'm having a great time with it. In this one, we're following Ophelia, and when Ophelia's mother passes away, her sister decides to go enter Phantasma, which is a deadly game of trials, and Ophelia also enters in order to find her and get her out safely because Ophelia has older sibling, I need to take care of my younger sibling vibes. The only way to save her sister is for Ophelia to win. Phantasma is a cursed manor filled with ghosts and all these like deadly things, and when one of the ghosts offers her a bargain to help her win, Ophelia decides to take it because it might be her only chance at surviving and saving her sister. This definitely was so unputdownable. I pretty much read it in one sitting, and I hope that you will love it too. The next one is Empire Flame and Thorns by Marion Blackwood. This was just so fun. I giggled my way through this one. In this one, we're following our main character who is a Fae rebel. At one point, the Faes actually ruled, and they decided to harness the dragon shifters, and they had the dragon shifters essentially enslaved underneath them. But the dragon shifters had a rebellion, they rose up, and now they are in power, and history kind of repeats itself. Now they have enslaved the Fae, but they give them one chance at getting out. There are the atonement trials that happen every so many years, and the winner will get to go free and like win their freedom. So our main character decides to enter in order to help the rebels succeed in their plan and to get help outside of the Seelie court. But there is a dragon shifter guard who gets in her way and tries to stop her from winning at every turn. This was just a lot of fun and very quick and easy to read. You will truly need to cancel your plans for the next one because this is going to take over your entire life. You will not be able to sleep until you finish all 6 books in this series. But the Bonsatai series by Jay Bree, this is a Why Choose paranormal romance. In this world, there are bonds and they strengthen your magic, and our main character has a secret that she doesn't want to actually be bonded because she thinks that if she is, she will destroy the world. Her magic will become too much. So she's been running from her bonded this entire time, but they have caught her and they are going to force her to bond with them, and they are not going to let her out of her sight. This was so fun. This gives me 2000s paranormal, a little bit of Wattpad vibes in the best way. And I just like found these and the audiobooks unputdownable. I literally could not think about anything else until I finished the series, and then when I finished it I was like, do I reread it? Like, this was so fun. I laughed so much. I had such a good time. I think about these characters a lot. I love the Why Choose aspect of this one. It was fun. It kept things fresh as we learned about new guys and different preferences, and I definitely really would recommend this one. I feel like a lot of Why Choose really fit this for me. And another one is Bonded by Thorns by Elizabeth Helen. If you've been on my channel before, you've probably heard me scream about this one. I was obsessed with this when I read it. I think this whole series is so much fun. It does get a lot longer than this first book, and it does have a lot more depth to it than just like a fun, silly, goofy time eventually. But this first one specifically really just had me having good vibes. It was so easy. I listened to the audiobook and I literally listened to it in one sitting. I played a video game and all of a sudden I was done the book and I was like, oh, what? I guess I need to start the second. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and it does really follow Beauty and the Beast. So go into that being warned that it does follow that specifically in the first book. I think halfway through the second you really start to see differences, and then from there it definitely branches off from Beauty and the Beast. But this follows our main character whose father is taken captive by these princes. She goes to the princes and she bargains for his freedom and she trades herself for him. But as she's at this castle being held prisoner, she learns that these 4 princes have a curse on them, that they're also turning into wolves and they are losing their magic. The way to end this curse is to find their one true loves, their mate. And she says, well, let's make a new bargain. I'll help you do that. I'll help you break this curse and I get to go free. And as she helps them find their mates, she realizes that she might be falling in love with more than one of them. This is so fun, so definitely pick this one up if you're looking for a good time. If you've never tried Why Choose before, I think that this is a perfect one to start with. Let's get my last Why Choose out of the way. They're so unputdownable for me. There's something so addicting about them. But we have Twilight of Embers by Tessa Hale. This is the only book that I don't think I gave 4 or 5 stars within this list. However, I read this entire 3-book series in one sitting. I literally couldn't stop reading. It was kind of just addicting to read. I had fun time reading it. In my reviews, I don't think that this is a masterpiece, but it was so fun. This is the epitome of a good time read for me, and I couldn't look away. This follows our main character who comes to her new school as a med student, and on her first day there, she seems to make a connection with the hottest guy in the college, and his brothers also come around, and she learns slowly that she's bit off more than she can chew. She just wanted to get good grades and become a doctor in order to save people the way her mother couldn't be saved, but all these men are actually dragon shifters and they have claimed her as their own. This one was a lot of fun. Okay, not a Why Choose, but still Romantasy. We have Zodiac Academy. This is a very long series, but every single book of these is so unputdownable and so fun and easy to read. In this, we're following our 2 main characters who find out that they are the heir to the Solaria throne. They're offered a deal. They have inheritance, but in order to get their inheritance, they have to go to Zodiac Academy, which is in the Fae realm, and graduate. Their inheritance is a lot of money, but it's also the crown to the kingdom. They don't want that crown, they just want the money. But when they're at Zodiac Academy, no one believes that someone would just turn away this much power, and these men who have been training their entire lives to become the next rulers of the kingdom start to bully these females because they want them to go because they don't want to give up the throne. This is so fun. It's a little bit of a bully romance, and honestly, this is just such a whirlwind ride that I can't not put it on a list like this because this is such a new obsession for me. Let's move on to fantasy. The first one that I would recommend for a popcorn read is Ash of the Sun by Django Wexler. This is such a fun, easy read. It's a chunky boy, so I feel like it's not often thought of as a popcorn read, but it's so easy to read, but it's still got depth, it's still got interesting world building. It's also a genre blend. It is a sci-fi fantasy. There are elements of sci-fi in this. My friends and I have tagged this as gay fantasy Star Wars a couple times, which if that doesn't get you, what is going to? There's a sapphic relationship in this that I really liked. There's also a sibling relationship. We're following our 2 characters, Maya and Geyer, and when Maya is 5 years old, the Empire comes and takes her away. She has a sickness and they say they can cure it. And since that day, Geyer has had a hatred for the Empire because they took his family away. They ripped it apart. Now, as adults, they are working on opposite sides of a war. Geyer is trying to take down the Empire, while Maya has drank the Kool-Aid and she is working in the Empire. When they meet as adults, what will happen? What will be the repercussion of their familiar bonds in a situation like this, and what is going to happen as a revolution is in store for this whole society. There are some horror elements in this as well. I thought this was so well done. It's fast-paced, there's interesting characters, there's funny side characters, one of my personal favorites, so definitely pick this one up. Along the Razor's Edge is another favorite of mine. This is an indie fantasy series where we follow Eska. She was on the losing side of a rebellion, and when time came, her friend waved the white flag, and so she is put into the pit with the most dangerous criminals, and she is on a quest to get out of the pit and get her revenge. There's really cool world building in this. It's ingestion magic, so they essentially ingest these stones that give them the magic. However, if the stone is within them for too long, it could burn them out, which literally burns them out. If you ingest the wrong stone that you don't have magic for, that also is not good for you, so you need to like throw it up. It's so interesting. I've never read something quite like this series in my opinion. I blew through all 5 books in the series so quickly. The audiobooks are really good. This is the epitome of a book that will take over your entire life and you will not want to put it down. I mean, these all are. That's the point of this video. Another one that I think is like that is The Emperor's Blades by Brian Stavley. This was so addicting. This again is a chunky boy. It's fantasy, so we're looking chunky. But I truly couldn't stop until I finished this entire trilogy. We're following 3 siblings essentially as the aftermath of their father, the king's death. He's put them on different paths as he is murdered before his time. They don't really know where those paths were supposed to lead, and they also have to figure out why he was murdered, who murdered him, and save their entire country. There are Griffin riders in this that I really liked. There is a woman in politics when it is a man's world, essentially, and her struggle and her success was very inspiring. I really liked the sibling bonds in this quite a bit, and I think that this was such an addicting fantasy series. If you haven't read it, this was a 5-star series for me, all 3 books. Last on the fantasy list is a book that I literally stayed up all night. I read this in one sitting. I could not sleep until I finished it, which is The Will of the Many by James Islington. This was such an addicting read. I had the best time with this. In this, we're following our main character who is orphaned. He is trying to stay off the radar, but he catches the eye of someone important who adopts him and sends him to an academy as a spy. Little does that person know that this character really wants to take down the hierarchy, which is the political state in this, but he does agree to be a spy. He's just kind of a double agent, essentially. This was so fun. I've never seen a magic system quite like this. I've never seen world building quite like this, and I was so in love with our main character. He was smart, he was curious, he was a very refreshing main character for me, and he was in a perfect position to be inquisitive without being too overly annoying and things like that. I think this was really well done. I'm still waiting for book 2. It better come soon. I think I am someone who loses attention quite quickly. I'm a binge reader for a reason. I marathon series quite often, and if there's too long between series, I lose my interest, and the fact that I am still waiting, I'm still so excited for book 2, I think says a lot about how much this stuck with me and how addicting this story was. It's really well paced in my opinion. I hope that everyone enjoys this one as much as I did. Let's move into YA. I have some fantasies and then I do have one non-fantasy, so let's start with the fantasies. The first one is Nevernight by J. Kristoff. This is a YA series about our main character who is an assassin, and she is trying to take down the person who killed her parents. She goes to an assassin's school. This one was a lot of fun. She is like the deadliest assassin. Actually, I don't think I gave this one 4 or 5 stars. I might only give this one 3 stars, but I tabbed it. I have spoiler vlogs for this. It was a lot of fun to read this, and I do still think about Mia as a character. I think she was really well done. I liked the magic system in here. The shadow magic, the like familiar that she has is funny, so I definitely would recommend this one. It's such an easy read. J. Kristoff does have a very easy writing style, and if you're someone who likes to read and like figure out what's going on, I think this was a perfect story for that. I feel like I was always guessing what was happening, and I was right a lot of the time, which I always find very good. Like it makes me feel better about myself when I'm right. That sounds so bad. You know, I feel good about myself when I get things correct. A recent one for me is The Cruel Prince. I had so much fun. I gave this whole series 5 stars. I read every single book in the series in one sitting. It was so addicting. We're following our main character Jude, who was 7 when her parents were murdered, and her and her 2 sisters were stolen away to live in the treacherous High Court of the Fae. They are raised by her half-sister's father, but the thing is that they are human, and so they don't really belong in the Fae court, because humans aren't really treated well, but they are treated to a standard higher than humans, but not enough of a Fae to fit in with the Fae, and Jude vows that she is going to make the Fae believe that she is just as good as them, and we watch her achieve that. This is like YA fantasy to romantasy. This is a staple on that pipeline. If you have not read this, please do. I thought it was so unique still, even though so many things are inspired from this. I also loved that the world building around the Fae had a lot to do with our myths and lore in the Fae, like things like how they are tricksters, how they're cruel, how they can't lie, how making a promise to a Fae is sometimes deadly to humans. I really liked a lot of that elements of it. I really enjoyed this one and definitely would say it's a popcorn read. It's so easy to read in one sitting. Ooh, another series that will get you so addicted is the Air Awaken series by Elise Kova. This is an elemental YA fantasy romantasy type story. We follow our main character who saves a prince, and she saves the wrong prince, and then she realizes she has magic, and in this world, the people with magic are looked down upon, but they're also necessary to save the country, so it's kind kind of this weird thing where they're needed, but no one really like respects them or wants to talk to them. So when she's given the status of the fact that she has magic, she is taken away to live with all the other people with magic. She can't really talk to her friends anymore. She's seen as different. But this prince who also has magic takes a liking in her, and things happen, and she's also the first of her kind in this world, and so that makes her extra special as well. I feel like I did not do that synopsis well, but I loved this. I was in a slump and I read these and it got me out of a slump. It's so easy to read. They're all really short. The audiobooks are good as well. This was so much fun. If you liked Red Queen, you'll probably also like this, in my opinion. The next one is Heartless Hunter by Kristen Cicerelli, a very new addition to this list as it's a newer release. This has so much yearning in it. It's so good. This is so easy to read in a day. I read it in a 48-hour readathon and it was such an easy read. I had so much fun with it. We're following a witch in hiding who is also trying to help other witches, and in order to help them, she has to get close to the best witch hunter there is. There is so much more to the series than just that. There is a YA romance that is spoon-worthy. They have the best moments. It's enemies to lovers, but there's also a really cool magic system in this for me. I loved how the witches did their magic and things like that. I thought it was something I had never read before, and there are politics at stake, which is always something I truly love in my books. I thought this was such a fun, easy, bingeable read. The second book is out. It's a completed duology, so although you will have to cancel your plans, at least it's only 2 books. So it's not like a whole month of your life, unless you're reading everything else on this list. For a YA murder mystery that I thought was so fun, we have A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, the epitome of a popcorn read. This follows our main character who, for her final school project, decides to open a cold case and figure out exactly what happened. Turns out it's not as simple as what the police thought happened, and she figures out the whole mystery and solves it. This was so fun. I loved the characters in this. I loved the style of the writing. It's such an easy read. I buddy read this with a friend, and it was so fun to have our thoughts go back and forth of like who we thought did it, why this person was suspicious. I definitely would recommend this for like a book club or a buddy read. The entire series is a lot of fun. I still have the final book to read though. I've only read books 1 and 2. Easy to read in a day. Very, very easy. So definitely check this one out if you are interested in something like this. And then I have a YA horror, which is Clown in a Cornfield. I love this entire series. It's so fun. It is a slasher story, but there's also politics and stuff in this. It's deeper than just a slasher. What they're discussing within the murders and the kills that are fun is way deeper than that, which is what I personally look for in a slasher. I love things that have a little bit more political conversations in them than just fun kills. I think that the series is just absolutely incredible. Incredible. There's 3 books out now. A movie comes out in May, so perfect time to read this book in my opinion. Then we can all talk about the movie together. Definitely check this one out. On to some horrors. The first one is Black Sheep by Rachel Harrison. This follows our main character who was in a cult and she left it, but when she ends up getting a mystery wedding invitation from people in the cult, she decides she has to go back and see what's happening, especially because when you leave a cult, no communication happens after that, so it's kind of a weird invitation for her to get. The story gets a little bit crazy from there. It is a little campy. There is a lot of humor in this. I really liked our main character's sense of humor. It really worked for me. I really enjoyed the plot and the pacing in this one. I had a lot of fun with this one, and I definitely think other people will as well, so it's definitely a popcorn read. It's really easy to read. I think I also read it in one sitting. I was buddy reading it with friends, and we were supposed to read a certain amount of chapters a day, and then all of a sudden I was just like, guys, I finished. And they were like, what? We're only supposed to be on like chapter 7. So this was such an easy read for me. I really, really love this story, so I hope that more people decide to pick it up and read it. A recent 5-star horror for me was The Intercepts. This was so freaky. This is a sci-fi horror. I read this in a 48-hour readathon, and I literally could not put it down. I was supposed to go to bed, and I just kept wanting to read. That's always a good sign of a popcorn read, a bingeable read, an enjoyable read for me is when I just like don't want to go to sleep. Although I regret it in the mornings, but it's still worth it to get those 5-star reads. I don't want to say too much about this one. Essentially, we're following our main character who works in a government institution that if you're into conspiracy theories, you'll probably enjoy this. No one knows what he does. It's like top secret. It's so top secret that if someone dies on the job, actors are hired to play their coworkers. Like no one knows anything about their jobs or anything, including his family, and things start to go astray at his job for him. This was so freaky from the first page. I was always like, what is going on? What exactly is happening? And I loved putting the pieces together, and I just thought it was so engaging and satisfying and honestly just creepy because I could picture a conspiracy like this happening in our our actual world. And I'm not even a conspiracy lover. Like, I don't really like to talk about them. Like, I'm not really into conspiracies. So I think that says a lot about how this book was handled. Then we have The Stowaway. This is the perfect book to read in May for Escape the Readathon, as I have it on good authority that the theme might have been inspired by this book, which is The Stowaway. This follows our main character, who was the deciding vote in a jury to let a murderer go free. And when she is a bunch of years later on a cruise, there is a copycat murderer on this cruise, and she has to help the cruise security figure out what is going on because she has more intimate knowledge of this case than any of them since she was on the jury for it. This is very fast paced. The kills in this were great. Like, this sounds so awful to say, but it was just very fun kills, and I really enjoyed it. It's a little bit thrillery, a little bit slashery. This is kind of a thriller horror blend in my opinion, and it does it really, really well. So I definitely would recommend this one. Another horror that I think you will stay up all night reading is Pen Pal. This is done in short story format, but it works so well. I think there's essentially 5 stories that are memories from a child's life. There is a story of this that I will think about for the rest of my life. I cannot get over it. Boxes. If you know, then you know. Honestly, I think all the stories really stuck in my brain in this one. This was a 48-hour readathon read for me as well, and I remember I was about to go to bed and I was like, I guess I'm staying up to finish this one. That happens to me with all of these. These are books that truly made me stay up all night reading. The one more chapter, but then it's 3 hours later. That's me during all of these books. And then a thriller is The Passengers by John Mars. We're following a world with AI cars, and someone hacks the systems of these cars and puts them on a collision course, and it's broadcasted to the rest of the world, and the world has to essentially be judge and jury for it, and all the people in these cars are put on blast for every bad or good thing they've done, and the rest of the world has to vote on who they want to survive this car crash. This was insane. It kind of reminds me of an episode of Black Mirror. I definitely feel this would fit into that concept of looking at society in a new perspective and seeing how close we are to something like this being a thing with AI, with reality TV, things like that, with self-driving cars. This definitely, John Mars always feels like this, but I definitely feel if you like Black Mirror, read this book. It's so fast-paced though. It's so fun. I definitely breezed through this and had a great time with it. And the last book I have to talk to you about is a romance actually, which is Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. I recently read this and just had so much fun with it. I don't typically read a lot of romance, and honestly, I don't love a lot of the romance that I have tried. So the fact that I instantly connected to this and instantly loved it, I should say contemporary romance because I read a lot of fantasy romance, but I instantly connected to this. I instantly wanted to finish it. I instantly kept wanting to read. I thought it was fun. We're essentially following our main character, who is a competitive horse rider. She's a horse jumper. And when she gets in a bad accident, she doesn't think she'll ever be able to ride again. She goes home to her family ranch, and there she meets her brother's best friend, who she grew up around, as he helps her get back on the horse and get back to doing what she loves. And she did not expect that from him. Really, really had a good time with this. I thought it was swoon-worthy. It was so fun. I'll be leaving the Escape the Readathon announcement on the screen for you to check out in case you missed it and you want to participate. It's one of my favorite readathons, so I'm so happy that I was asked back this year to host, and I hope that some of these reads take up the rest of your time and that you are just addicted to them as I am, and that you really have some 5 stars. If you made it all the way to the end of this video and you'd like to leave me an emoji just to say you were here, leave me a cowboy emoji of some sort, and have yourselves an absolutely remarkable day.